Greetings. This is Arvette McLean with Speak, The Universe Listens. New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
Hey.
So today we have a wonderful guest joining us, and so we're just so excited to have her here. So her name is Zari St. Jean, and she is actually the daughter of one of my oldest, dearest friends. And it's so funny because when I have my back to her and she's talking, I think she's my friend.
I'll take that as a compliment. I am my mother's daughter.
Absolutely are. So thank you for joining us today, and I think it's the perfect conversation because today we'll be talking about what to do when you don't know what to do with your life. And so I was really thinking about this topic because one of my girlfriends, she's just like, I just don't know what to do. I don't have any goals. I don't know what I want in life. I can't even think of anything that I want to work towards or anything like that. And so I was like thinking about, well, when was I in that place? And I've actually been in that place a couple of times. So one time I was in that space probably for I'm going to say 3 years. Because after I worked around the clock for so long, I was like, I'm going to take 5 years off and just do whatever. And then I would start working again after the 5 years. And at the end of the 5 years, I was just like, what do I want to do? And I would ask everybody, what do you think I should be doing? Because I just couldn't figure it out. So have you guys ever been in that space?
Yeah. I feel like I was in that space when I was first graduating from Longwood. It was everybody's there's so much hype around finding a job after you leave for college or whatever, and so it was all of that was on my mind or whatever. I was like, but I don't know what I want to do. I changed my major in the middle. I thought I wanted to do this, but I don't know what that looks like. I just know that I have a million options with this. So I started telling people, I think, every 4 years I just change my career path. I'll do this for 4 years, and then that for 4 years, and then this for 4 years, because I did not know.
Completed my trade, so I started getting into carpentry. Did that for a while. Then after that, it was all right, probably 2 years in, I said, okay, let me see what else I can do. Had my daughter, and after that, got into retail, got stuck for maybe about 5 years, and I'm just constantly working, and really didn't have no set goal on that. Where we going? So eventually, I found my purpose. Started being around people that had they know what their purpose was. So they sort of gave me a little idea about, okay, even though you got your purpose may not be mine, but I got an idea of where I wanted to go.
Yeah, I feel like I've been in that space too. Just working jobs, just to have a job and things like that. And then it's well, I don't know exactly what I want to do, but what makes me feel good. And so I started thinking about those things. And that's what I would go to if I didn't know what to do, what I wanted to do.
Let me look at my watch. Oh, it's today. So literally in my life, and I was telling Arvette when she sent me the topics, I was like, oh my gosh, that first one is literally me. I've never been in a place where I didn't know what my next plan was going to be. That's never even how I lived my life. But a few years ago, I had started developing this kind of wanderlust kind of essence to my life. And I think about sometimes, how you see older people and they're a little bit hippie-ish and they're just wanderlust, they don't really care. And I started really kind of analyzing that. And I realized like, well, especially since I like to garden, one of the things I noticed is like when gardening is something like, horticulture something you do till you get old, and I'm young now, so people normally can enjoy it for long periods of their life for a long time. But also just like how much happier that people are who are into that. But also wanting to stay more on like the happier side when I had started noticing myself getting really like kind of business oriented, and it was taking the joy away from me. So realizing like, okay, I'm 28, I was like, if I rush it, like what is the point of rushing it? Because then I'll get to this point now where I felt like, and I feel like also it's that when we were in school is when that whole Forbes 30 under 30 thing came out. Or the woman's supposed to be married by 25. And all those kind of like things like that, like you had a deadline of achievement if you felt like you are achievable. And it kind of put like a lot of pressure on us, and then you found out people paid to get on the list. But and then you're like, oh, so it's not even like a real goal anymore. So when you knock stuff like that off your table, you're like, dang, well, what is there to like kind of look forward to? And I don't, as long as I can find a way to keep myself happy.
See, I think you said something that was interesting though, which was you would realize the spaces that weren't bringing you joy, and you had started spending more time in the spaces that did bring you joy, and kind of letting that kind of guide you to what you wanted to do. Because I think that is so interesting and strong, because I think a lot of times it's so easy just to get caught in the, well, I'm just going to continue to do this, I'm going to continue to do this, but like never really acknowledge, hey, I'm not happy in this space. Like maybe I should shift, and like this isn't what I want to do. So like I think the shifting and spending more time in what you do enjoy and not in what you don't enjoy, I think is just key to figuring out what you want to do in life.
And wrinkle prevention.
Listen.
The wrinkle prevention is also the number one thing. Nothing that makes you frown.
I agree with that.
But I like that you said, like finding things that sort of make you happy. And even when I was in retail, even though I didn't really, it was like I didn't like it, but I liked dealing with people, talking with people. So that was one part of it. So when I left, I sort of took bits and pieces of things that I did like, so I can sort of put them into my new goal or my purpose that I was going after.
Yeah. And a lot of times you see how we all think about when we say, what do we want to do in life? Everybody went straight to job, right? But there's so much more to life than job. But a lot of times we don't think outside of job. So have there been times in your life when you're just like, well, I can say this. So I had actually had a bucket list. And then there was a time in my life where I had completed everything on my bucket list. So everything that I wanted to do, I had now done it. And so I'm just like,
Like what's
Still
next?
alive.
Yet.
Well, no. That's what that's about. You gotta pick it and keep going.
Exactly. And so it's like, okay, now what? And like, I think my girlfriend was in a position where she's just like, okay, basically, I have everything I need. My life is good. So what else is there? Like, what's next? What's the next or whatever? And I think a lot of times what we've been taught, how we've been taught is to set goals. So it's like something out there that I want, and then I have to set goals to get that thing. So I'm gonna pause right there and see if y'all have anything to say.
Yeah, I think there's some things on my bucket list that like I wanted to do, and then once I accomplished it, it was like, all right, like what's next? Like for me, I remember when we first did like a little like yacht ride or whatever. Like that was so groundbreaking and mind blowing for me. I was like, yeah, like that's it. Like I have lived out what I wanted to like live out, my childhood fantasy. I think if I ever had to question myself was, let's live the life of a rapper for a day. And like I've done that now. So like what do I want to do next? And then that's when I realized that my desires had started to grow just a little more. I was like, okay, well now I want to do this. Like, okay, if it was the yacht, then like maybe we'll try this now. And then it was the stepping back and realizing, well, it's the feeling of exploration that I'm really enjoying and really wanting to do. So as long as like I'm getting to explore anything, I just felt happy, and I was like, that's kind of what I like to do, like explore different ideas.
I think one of my biggest, I wouldn't say setback, but like just growing up, the main thing was like make sure you get a good job and make sure you're financially stable and you're secure and your daughter is secure. Those were the things I was taught. So I'm living my life just making sure I'm making my parents happy. But in the midst of that, just growing and elevating, I learned that my true happiness is like just travel, and it's something that I don't really get to do as much because I don't allow myself to do it like that. I don't allow myself to do it as much because I'm so stuck in the mindset of work. So sometimes I have to catch myself and break that. And when I do travel, it's just like it's a peace of mind. It's fun. I'm learning something new, experiencing something new. So I think for me, just one of many things on my bucket list is just like see as much as possible, travel as much as possible. Almost like I just don't want to be in a box.
Mm-hmm.
That's my.
Nice. He said, stamp it out. You know what? They don't even do stamps anymore.
They don't. I hate that.
I just realized I said that I'm old fashioned. That's why I was little Sonia. But yeah, probably that. I don't realize I'm a natural comedian, so sometimes I just, when I be so worried about making sure I'm happy, kind of like sharing that with other folk, because some folk don't even notice that like they're living in unhappiness until, there were times when I used to go to my community garden and one of the ladies would say, I need to come more often when you're here because you just make my day so much better. And I was like, wow, that is a really nice thing to say to me. I was like, I am not thinking about you, but wonderful. I was like, I'm happy that, but then I realized when they talk about how you can share your energy and what your energy other people can pick up who are around you. And if you're kind of thinking about, I want to do this just for me, make myself happy, people can pick up on you're doing something to make you happy around others. And they kind of want a piece of that. What are you thinking about? What is it that's motivating you to kind of be able to keep a smile on your face? Because my day sucked. So help me, help me out. And, I've been that person for folk before. And now I'm like, okay, I done had a few unhappy days in the past couple weeks where it kind of shook me to my core because I just didn't even recognize myself. Because I'm never really like that. So I just felt so lost. That's why when I saw the topic, I was like, I'm so lost right now. Jesus, please. I was like, gosh, how do I get back on my, back on my rhythm? And it sucks. But sometimes it is work. Sometimes you can find something that you're passionate about or something that you have a dream about. And so for mine, that's me. I'm like, that is one of my dreams. I want to work at, a major botanical gardens one day. I've been grassrooting it for a while. I studied biology and chemistry when I went to school. And I found horticulture is a scientific, way into gardening, not just agriculture or horticulture or any other cultures. I can go down the list, stop me at any time. But, so realizing that about myself and finding a way to do that just for me and explaining to my parents I'm gonna do it. They wanted me to be a doctor.
Yeah, so all of that, everyone has hit on some incredible points or whatever in terms of what to do when you don't know what to do. And I love what you said about exploration and you said about being happy. But really, a lot of times we're in pursuit of things. And when we're in pursuit of things, then we also have goals. And you kind of mentioned it as well when you were I forgot what you said now. But
was it a desire thing?
Yeah, it was the what's after the yacht.
So it's you get the thing, and then it's now what? And so the whole thing about goal setting that is what the end result is. Like you set a goal, you get to it, and then what? Now you got to set another goal. And so you're always in pursuit of something, you're always chasing something. And so I was the world's greatest goal setter. Right? Like I would set goals and meet them, and that was my thrill. But then it's like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? Or whatever. And now I don't set goals at all. Like at all, zero zip nada. And so I don't even think about, well, what do I want to do next? I never think about that. And so what I've learned is when you don't know what to do, well, we think we don't know what to do. We think we don't know what we want, but we all know what we want. And all of us can come up with a list such as, I want to be happy. I want to be able to explore. I want to laugh more. I want to feel free. So you can just come up with your own list of things that you want, and it's not attached to a thing, right? So just start compiling a list. I would recommend that for everybody, just to compile a list of things that you want: more love, more joy, more freedom, more laughter, more y'all can jump in, more exploration, more reasons to be like, oh my gosh, you know, more wonder, more magic, more miracles. Like think of those types of things versus tangible. And so when you start thinking about those things, you can literally have them in the moment. Right now, I can feel free. So the key is to go into your imagination. Feel the thing that you want to feel. I want to feel free. So just take some time to feel free. And then, you know, as I know the question that I would have if someone were to say that to me, I'm like, okay, so I feel free, now what? But the thing is, the more you feel it, the more you can imagine it, the more you bring it into this existence, into this realm. And so you're going to start attracting exactly what it is you're putting out. And so Zari had kind of said it as well when she was saying about she's going to the garden for her personal joy. She's feeling good. And in her feeling good, she's affecting the people around her. And that's the same way things work. Like you're putting out that energy, and then everything like that will start coming towards you. So you start putting out the energy of freedom. You start putting out the energy of abundance. You start putting out the energy of joy, and then everything of light will turn around and come to you.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like really what you're saying that just for me, like when I have those feelings, and sometimes those feelings are black, and I get in the 3D mindset, I have to catch myself real quickly, and with just having that awareness of like, okay, you're getting in that black mindset, you're getting in that 3D mindset, check yourself real quick, and then I started to get back into abundance. I'm worthy type of mindset. And so I think my biggest struggle just along my way is fighting that at times, as to where when it kicks in, because I've been programmed to think like that. So breaking that habit, I think I would tell anybody, just make it a consistent pattern of every day catching yourself when you get into those old feelings of lack or whatever has been holding you back. And when you catch it, just, you know, reverse what you're thinking and into something positive.
Yeah.
And just continuously work at it. Then after a while, it's just gonna be, you're not
that's
gonna
it.
have that thought process.
Exactly. That's what I had learned. Actually, that's like an actual thing where your brain grooves are so used to having like a certain thought pattern where you maybe think about something that makes you upset, and you can just go right down that pattern. And there'll be things like smallest things is probably like sometimes me and my mom will have a tiff, but I've realized like it's only because in my mind I already think that if we talk about this, it's going to end up in a tiff. And I have control over how my mind or perception when we get on this topic. Do I always want this topic to end up in a tiff? No. So what can I do? And it's like being so conscientious of how you're thinking. That is such a good one. But that's like something to like so rare. You know what I'm saying? Like not everybody has that, and it really sucks when you're like, man, like think higher of yourself, dude. Like you got this. I believe in you. You know what I'm saying? You can say that to your friends, but then like I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Now what? Like I said, now what? I'm free. But I had saw the Henry Box Brown, like they have a sculpture, and when you were speaking of free, that's what I thought of because I saw that today, and I've been complaining walking on these hills because my knees are not used to it. I'm from below sea level, so like the change in elevation has been like funny on my knees, like they're rotating in ways they never did before. I'm like, I'm old. But I saw that box, and I remember learning about that in history, and I was like, wow, you can walk. You didn't have a choice to walk. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like a freedom when you think about like how you can make that kind of comparison. Like, yeah, it could have been like this, but it's not. Heck.
and I'm piggyback on what she's saying because freedom is a state of mind. And so although he's in a box, our perception is he was punched in a box and he was not free. And our perception may be, well, since I'm walking around, I should be free. I'm freer than him. But really, we really don't know. Like what our eyes see can be totally different from what another person is experiencing. And so for me to think of someone who got in a box and shipped themselves,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, 27 hours.
That's like, to me, that's a freedom of mind. He was free.
Yes.
Like if he didn't feel free, he couldn't have survived in that box. That's just my perception of that. But that's a perfect example of feel what you want to feel. Your perception will change everything. And he was able to probably feel freedom, get in a box, and shift himself to freedom.
You know what I'm saying? But what it made me think of is like how you think that you put yourself in a box. How you hear that phrase, you put yourself in a box. But then I seen, so I won't get emotional, because I was like, wow, when you think about like, I'm putting myself in a box. But this man did, and he was all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was all right. Because he knew what was inside of him. Even so many years ago, like what that must have been like for a man to be like, I'm gonna do it. And do it, and did, and still he's talked about today and memorialized. It just makes me feel like, okay, what's gonna be my mark? Maybe like how can I always feel like how can I share that happiness like how I've done in the past? How can I translate this to other people the best that I can? Because knowing that that makes other people happy when, like you're saying, like not everything is so material and tangible to hold on to, but sometimes like I'll forever think about that lady saying that to me because I was so young. Like how can I like infect someone like in your age and think that I have the power to make you feel better about your day? Like little old me, you know what I'm saying? I'm just digging off, but it just makes you kind of like get in a different frame of reference of how much power you really have over influence over people in positive ways.
And that's key what you're saying as well, because a lot of times we think we need to do it for someone else. I need to influence you. All I need to do is take care of me. I need to make sure I'm as happy as I can. Being in my joy is my gift to you. The happier I am, the happier you'll be. Right? So that's my gift to you. And I don't really have to say, how can I make Stephen happy? How can I impart joy onto Stephen? I don't have to do that. All I have to do is me be happy, and it will.
Right. I say, she always smile. You know, little things like that. You know, that's like little things you get taught. Was it pass the kindness on and stuff like that? But you get taught that as like children, and then you realize, like as an adult, how much power it really ends up having towards everyone else. How much better the world is when you do kind of get out of the me. Like I could think about me for everyone else. Type of thing. And how much power you have as an individual being able to do that, think that way.
Yeah, when you pour in, you're able to release out.
All right. So any closing comments? On what to do when you don't know what to do with your life? What are some things that you all want more of in your life?
Always abundance. That's just the more abundant you feel, and the more free I feel, the more I feel comes to me. So just those two.
I would say I'll piggyback a little bit off of you, but almost the same as Teron, just more free, you know, to experience new things than I've experienced.
I would say those things too, and I would say more creativity.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was mine.
I like that.
I want it to never end, like my creativity, like never end.
And I have to speak on that point as well because I just kind of had this conversation with one of my friends because I'm actually caretaking for my uncle right now, and so my girlfriend was like, you know, that's really great. You know, you're a really great niece, or whatever. And she's like, but you doing that is making me realize I don't have any children. So I'll have to rely on my niece and nephew for when I'm older. And, you know, I don't have any children either, you know, and I'm like, that's not something I used to think about that, like, okay, who's going to do these things for me, you know, but I don't think about that anymore because I realize that I am a creator. And so there's no end to my creativity. And so I don't have to worry about, you know, what am I going to do? Where are things going to come from? Because I'm a creator. Yeah.
And she's gonna call Rodney. Rodney's like, oh, I don't even know what to say. You and Jerry really open. He's like, you're over. I was like, well, I remember you said that. He over there like, oh yeah.
Creative.
Your name dropped me at all. But you do have a nephew.
Like, oh,
Look, both of them look like,
Yeah.
well, okay. No help at all.
She gonna create some nephews.
all right, well, thank you. Thank you, Zari, for joining us.
Yeah.
Such a wonderful addition.
Thank you.
I tried.
Very good. So hopefully you were able to get something out of this conversation that you can take with you. And I hope you guys were able to get something interesting out of this conversation. Just really putting your attention on the things that you already know that you want more of, more love, more joy, more freedom, more abundance, more beauty, all those things. Just start creating those things in your mind, just more of that. And then you will attract more of that. All right, so until next time, this is Arnett.
Steven.
I'm sorry.
Teron.
Rodney.
Bye, y'all.